Welcome everyone to Enlightened Conversations. I'm your host, Tammie Pike, and today I have the delightful Theresa Voigt with me. And I have been able to talk to Theresa on multiple occasions and have always been delighted when talking to her. And no doubt you will enjoy this conversation. And so I want to share, first of all, welcome Theresa. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. So just a little bit about Theresa. Theresa is a healer, an intuitive soul coach, channel and clairvoyant medium. She is a deeply compassionate companion for your inner radiance and your soul light that is waiting to find its way out in the world. She works with you to help you to remember the lost and forgotten parts of yourself, to help you bring those parts out into the world so you may live closer to the calling of your soul. Theresa's sessions are an alchemy of soul healing, guidance, ritual, meditation, self-love, self-care, sacred conversation, and spiritual connection. So here she is. Welcome, Theresa. And please, I would love to know more about you and your journey and how you've got, to be a healer and an intuitive soul coach and channel clairvoyant. What is it? What has your journey been?
That's an enormous question. How long have we got? I might need a cup of tea. There's no really simple and short, succinct little answer to that. I was born the way that I am, and for various reasons, my family of choice in this lifetime, all of the experiences that come along with that, I hid it. And it was a very conscious choice later on in life to hide all of that. I worked very hard to fit into a certain box. That recognition that, other people were happier when I was in a box and it made their life easier, and I was all about making other people's lives easier. So I stayed in a box until it reached a point where I just couldn't anymore. And I started looking for not so much solutions, but as ways of coping with staying in the box. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I started seeing other healers and going for sessions. And initially it was, how do I lose weight? How do I get to be a better person? How do I get to stay and be comfortable in the box where everybody else likes me? And then it became something far greater than that. And it became a reawakening and an acceptance again of who I was and who I'd hidden away. And then it got to a point where, I don't think I need to be in the box anymore. Mm-hmm. And it was the ripples of that just sent every tsunami, going through life. And everything got swept away, everything changed. And the realization that for me to be who I was at a very deep core level, I couldn't stay in the box. And that it was okay if that was hard for other people, and that I understood it was hard for other people, but I wasn't going to stop being who I was anymore. So I started this amazing journey, and I found so many changes were taking place within me that I thought, my God, if I'm as screwed up as I am and I get results out of this work, just imagine all the other screwed up people in my life that I could possibly help. And so I started learning how to do this for other people. And as I began that part of it, it was, I already know how to do this. And I already know how to do that. And I'm just remembering all those things that I pushed aside so that I could make my box all nice and soft and fluffy and comfy. And so I ended up here.
It's amazing. But it's what you've explained. I think so many people have gone through, you know what I mean? Like they had these gifts and then it was not normal. So they've just done whatever they can to stop it from happening, trying to ignore it, get back into that box of normality. And we lose ourselves when we do that, don't we?
Completely. And it wasn't so much a losing of myself as a choice not to be myself.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Because being myself and others uncomfortable. So I did have a choice. Every day of my life I had a choice, and I prioritized everybody else's need to be comfortable with me over my own need to be who I was. Wow. Oh, that sounds really sad saying it out loud like that.
Yeah, but we do it. That's especially for women. Women are the best at doing that, of making the choice of putting everyone else first and themselves last, and making themselves fit to everyone else's expectations, to everyone else's beliefs, to everyone else's self-limiting beliefs. You know, it has this, it's huge, isn't it? Like in the collective, it's massive.
It is massive, but you know what I've learned, and I'm probably just a little bit older than you, and what I've learned is, and this is my experience of it, all right, so I'm not negating anybody else's whatsoever, but what I've learned is that it's really easy and it was certainly easy for me as a woman, to blame a whole bunch of things for me choosing to stay in my box and prioritise everybody else. Well, I'm a mother. That's what mothers do. I was raised Catholic. Well, that's certainly what we do when we're indoctrinated with Catholic guilt. You know, it's my husband should have been born in the 50s, if not the 1800s, you know, so this is the role that I'm taking on. You know, there's all kinds of reasons to justify staying in the box, and none of them are wrong. But it still comes down to a choice that, yes, there are lots of very valid reasons, but I'm still going to choose to stay here. Because for me, where I'm at in my journey on my path, it's better for me right now to stay in the box rather than step outside.
Yeah, wow. Thank you for sharing that perspective. It's so true. And we are all so responsible for our own lives, for where we are, for the people we have in our lives. It's all up to us to create that life. You know, there's things that might affect and stuff like that, but we still choose it. We still choose who's in our life and those things that can affect us. And I guess, you know, with your journey into, you know, coming to being a healer for others, you know, so how was it that you started stepping out away from that box? What enabled you, or was it there a big push or a big change that went, hey, this is not a way of I want to live anymore?
The big thing for me was my weight.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds, and I still think it sounds absolutely ridiculous that I've been on this journey of healing and wanting to help others. And I started because I couldn't lose weight. Mm-hmm. And it's been like 15 years and I still haven't lost the weight. And I'm still learning and I'm still changing and growing and evolving and I'm still helping others, but my weight's still here. And you know, an analogy that I use with a lot of my clients is that it's like an onion and there are layers of the onion, you know, and the reason my weight is staying on is so at the core of that onion. Yeah. I've just got a hell of a lot of layers to peel off, but it doesn't mean that I'm still not changing, growing and evolving and in a place where I can share some of that with other people. But it all started with my weight.
Yeah. And your journey, sorry, you go.
And the reason that it was my weight, it kind of puts the pieces of the puzzle into a perspective, because being in my box where I needed to make other people happy, if I was overweight, I didn't feel attractive, so I didn't think other people would find me attractive. My husband was no longer attracted to me, so again, harder to stay in that box where everybody's happy. If I was this overweight mother, I didn't fit in with the thin crowd at school, which my husband at the time wanted to be a part of. You know, so I needed to make all these changes to stay in this box and keep everybody happy with who I was in the box. Mm-hmm. And, you know, needless to say, I'm no longer married to the same person, but, you know, yeah. it was part of the process. And I can be really honest and say that's where it started. For me to stay in the box meant pleasing everybody else. And physically, to stay in the box, I had to physically change. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Except the things that began to change weren't the physical things. Mm-hmm. And it just made more and more people uncomfortable around me. So more choices and decisions had to be made. And along all of these years, the recognition that it actually wasn't the outer part of me that changed, but the inner part that changed was huge. Mm-hmm. Absolutely huge. And I so get that the inner had to change before the outer can. But that's where it all started.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing, because I know so many people will resonate with this, and, you know, especially along the spiritual journey, and that, you know, there's prototypes, or, you know, what do you call it? People look and have a certain idea of what someone looks like or should be like this. And if you're spiritual, but it's not, it's about who you are. It's about, you know what I mean? But they do. People are just ridiculous. Society, social media, books and stuff. We put so much pressure on ourselves to be looking a certain image, and it doesn't need to be. It's not about that at all. And whether we're thin, we're, not happy with our weight, whatever we're at, we're still just us. We have this amazing quality to shine from the inside out and just be who we are in this body that we've been given. And it's irrespective of our weight. That's just whatever it is, whatever's causing that to be an issue or not an issue. You know what I mean? And I really believe that people need to understand that no matter where you are on your journey, whether it's a physical thing that you feel is, stopping you from stepping out of your comfort zone or whatever, it's go within, connect with that being within, isn't it? Do you feel that that's the same thing?
I do. I agree with that. And we put a lot of emphasis on the external.
Yes.
And the people around us put emphasis on the external, and we're bombarded, it's everywhere. Everyone understands what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. But the reality is that the essence of who we are doesn't reside on the external. Mm-hmm. It resides on the internal plane, and that's where all the work has to happen.
Yes.
That getting past the external for some people is really difficult. It's a huge stumbling block. And we go, well, why can't I be, gorgeous and slim and fabulous and still work on the inside stuff? Why does it have to be either or?
Yeah.
And the thing, it doesn't have to be either or, but there are reasons why we do one instead of the other. Mm-hmm. And there will come a time where we do both. Mm-hmm. And there's, within the collective energies of women, of the feminine, we have centuries and centuries of us being given a fundamental choice. Either we are the beautiful maiden who is virtuous and fabulous and divine, but a little bit dumb, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. or we are the crone. We're either the maiden or the crone, and the crone in that analogy is the woman who lives in the forest, who helps the people, who's isolated, who's unattractive, who's the, bent over, hunched over old woman, who could be 22, but that's still the persona that she gives off. And for so many centuries, we've had this choice given to us. We believed we could only be one or the other. Mm-hmm. And our job right now, with the feminine that's rising in the world right now, is to understand we don't have to choose anymore. Mm-mm. We can be both. We really can be. And part of the difficulty is understanding and knowing how to do both at the same time. And that's where we trip up, mm-hmm. is not knowing, after so long of not doing it, how to suddenly bring them together.
Oh, definitely. And it's I don't know how I'm trying to express what I'm going to say, but I'm going to try. Being what I've been through, especially younger women too, need to know that it's not about going out and, learning everything. And, it's connecting to our inner wisdom and really owning that even if we are at any stage in our life, we have that accessibility to our wisdom, and we can have the boat like the scales. We can create our life being the crone and the witch, or the truth seeker, or whatever it is, as well as having a shining bright still. We don't have to be this dark, what do you call it? The witchy energy. We can just be ourselves and have this knowledge and wisdom that we share with others without, again, I feel very resonant with what you said with either being one or the other, because people don't understand yet the two, or won't accept, or, see, when they see you, accept that it is, you're both.
Yeah, absolutely. And occasionally we'll see a woman who embodies every aspect, and we are completely blown away by what we see and what we hear and what we feel. Mm-hmm. And we all go, I want that. I want to, it's like that scene in When Harry Met Sally, I want what she's having. That's what we want. Yeah. But we just go, fuck, I don't know how to get it. Help me. What do I do? Uh-huh. And it's pretty easy to get caught in the, I don't know what to do. It mustn't be for me. I'll just stay over here.
Yeah. And that's a really, really, yeah. a really great point in understanding too that it's uncomfortable. This whole process can be very uncomfortable as we're changing and evolving. And, you know, it's always, I think we need to really understand that change is uncomfortable. Like change is always going to, you know, get us out of our comfort zone. It's not always staying in the one spot, and allowing that process to happen and really be comfortable with it. Not even comfortable, but just acknowledge it, I guess, for what it is.
Okay, I completely get what you're saying, and I was actually having this conversation with somebody the other day, and I think what we all understand and accept that this place that we're in right now, this evolving state, is uncomfortable. But a lot of people equate uncomfortable with painful and difficult and torturous and lots of setbacks and just difficulty. But uncomfortable really simply means that we're outside of our comfort zone. That's all it is. Yeah. It's not that it's bad or it's worse or painful or torturous. It just means it's different. And until we get used to the new different, and that becomes our normal, we're out of our comfort zone and it's uncomfortable. But that's all it is. Anything new we've never done before, we're a bit uncomfortable with. You know, the first time you sleep with a fabulous man, you know, we're a little bit uncomfortable because we haven't done this with him before. You know, and so it is. But after a few goes, it's like, oh, it's fun. You know? So we're in our comfort zone and we're rocking it. Okay, same kind of thing. I can't believe I'm equating.
That's awesome. I love that metaphor. That is fantastic. I think everyone can, you know, relate to that. So
that's the thing, you know, after a few goes round, you know, you're comfortable with it. Same thing with spiritual growth. The difference with spiritual growth is, well, actually, I've got 50 Shades of Grey coming across my mind at the minute. So maybe that's actually that. Thank you. Sorry. They're just giving me an analogy. It's actually a really good analogy, because in 50 Shades of Grey, what he did to whatever her name was he kept pushing her out of her comfort zone, and then she'd get a little bit comfortable and he'd step it up. It's the same kind of thing with our spiritual growth without all the, you know, accoutrements attached to it. And instead of that stuff, we use crystals and we use essential oils and we use meditation and different things. But every time we step up our spiritual growth, we're out of our comfort zone until we get really good there. And then we step it up again. Oh, we're a bit uncomfortable here. And so we spend time and get cozy, and then we step it up again. It's the same kind of thing. Yeah, it is.
I love that. You know what? You can always relate everything to sex, you know, seriously. It's always would have a yeah, I love it. I love it. It's fantastic. So, you know, people who stop because it gets uncomfortable, relating to your life, where, you know, the stages where you started feeling uncomfortable with your growth and your change, what helped you move through that to have the faith that you know, you're going to come out of that, or, you know, the faith that you will doing the right thing in the right direction, walking the right direction?
Okay. Because I don't believe I'm coming out of it. I don't think we're ever done.
Yes.
They're just different, you know, it's a moving sliding scale. But there was a point where I realized, and I guess it was a tipping point, where I realized that the person I had been, and I could see her, and I had a lot of compassion for who she was. And I understood why she was where she had been, why she made the choices that she made, why she, you know, stayed in the box. God, she decorated it, you know, did the whole thing. But I didn't want to be her anymore. And it just simply became I get who I was, but I don't want to be that anymore. And then there was no choice but to continue going forward. It was really that simple.
It is. And that simple, yet that soul deepening motivation, isn't it? And that there was no choice, that you just knew that you wanted to move in a different direction and be who you knew you were, connect to who you were, you know what I mean, isn't it? And how did you allow yourself to find the ways to heal yourself, then, you know, incorporate into a business? How did you do that?
To move from personal to business?
Yeah, into that, you know, so you went and got all that knowledge, and then you've now created your knowledge and that into business? I know we talked a little bit about it, but what was that motivating factor? And like, I know we talked about that as your intuition as well, but that journey of letting your knowledge and your wisdom then be able to share with others.
Okay. I have always meditated, and and I need to qualify meditation for me, because I'm not a sit down cross-legged chanting om kind of meditating person. For me, it's about my breath and being present and being mindful. And all of that began with me with drinking tea. I'm a huge tea drinker, and I loved the idea of a ritual. And so I started to make, every time I'd have a cup of tea during the day, a ritual. And I would do nothing else. I would not answer a phone. I wouldn't be checking emails. I wouldn't have the washing on while the kettle's boiling. I simply stood there and I did all of this. So for me, it was a meditation. And I took the energy of that into my formal meditation, which was my morning and my evening rituals. And I just stuck to it over and over and over again. And I started to, being a very visual person, my meditations, I began to go places in my meditations. And in those places, I would be meeting with my guides and talking with my guides. And initially it was very loving and beautiful, but then it became conversations across the time. And it became really clear to me that what I was doing and the level of connection that I just felt so blessed to have, surely this isn't just for me. You know, and it would be really nice if it was just for me, but I couldn't believe and be happy and settled with it just being for me. I'm, at my core, I'm a teacher and I'm a giver and I'm a nurturer. I couldn't hold it all in. And so I started just doing it for free. And initially it started, I'm a Reiki master, and I started doing Reiki just for friends, anyone who was open to it. And then it became word of mouth. And, you know, they said, oh, so-and-so, you know, said you might be able to see me. And it got to a point where someone said, Jesus, Theresa, you so need to be charging for this. And I went, oh, couldn't possibly. Like, oh, no. This is all, you know, a gift. Give it away. And then I got busy. And then I thought, actually, I'm not really valuing me and the blessing that I believe I have in being able to share it. So it took months for me to get comfortable with it, but I started to charge. And once I started to charge, the way I worked began to change. And in my meditations, my guides would say to me, we know why you didn't, but we wish you'd done this before. You know, and then they started saying, and can you do this? And can you now bring this in? And can you do this? And remember we told you about this? Well, can you do something with that as well? And it was like, so then I started writing things down. And I still do it to this day. The main way I talk to them is through channeled writing. I write questions, they give me the answers, because I think... Because I think if I've got it written down, I can't really ignore it. Right? So that's the way I do it. And they still give me the guidance now, what to do with my business, how to grow it, how to change it, how to make it be this alchemy of all these things that I have and am and can do and can bring through in a way that's of benefit for others. So they're still my main business advisors.
So how did you learn to trust that? How did you learn to have faith and surrender to it?
That's an excellent question, Tammie. And what I realised, and I'm sure, I hope to God it's not unique to me, but I am really, really good at ignoring them.
Yeah.
They are incredibly patient with me. And there are times where I just need to be hit over the side of the head like it's a sledgehammer.
I think we all do. Yeah.
But it's because I'm going to ignore it. You know, and then I worked out I was really good. I worked out if I don't even ask, then I can pretend there is no answer at all. You know?
Yeah.
And then something will implode, or if something will explode, something will fundamentally change in such a way that I go, oh, I better talk to them again. You know? But then I, like a child, I go back, really sorry, guys.
Yeah.
And they laugh. They're very good. They really are. I'm incredibly lucky with my guides. Patient the saint, huh? Yeah. But they just, laugh and smile at me, and they go, we know, and it's okay, and you're here now. So pick up the pen and let's start. I'm like, okay. Can I make tea first? No. Okay. And that's really how I have to trust it, because there are sometimes it flows and it resonates on such a level that you just know it's right. And there are other times it comes through and you go, oh, I don't want to hear that. That's not what I wanted. So I'm going to ignore that, and I'm not going to just put the kettle on. I'm going out for coffee. You don't want to hear it, and that's normal, and that's human, and that's part of it. It doesn't mean they stop giving us the guidance. We just, talk to the hand for a while.
Wonderful. Thank you. No, honestly,
we do.
You. Yeah, and I guess we are so human in that we ask for help, and then when we get given it, we're like, that doesn't really fit right now. I'll just think about that and, leave it to the side or whatever, isn't it? And then you come back to it later and go, wow, that really would have been a good idea to do that. But hey, I learned whatever I need to learn, and I'm here now. But I really think that's a beautiful way of being honest with it, and yes, we are having a human experience. We're going to act like humans, and we're going to do crazy stuff like that and not listen to, high advice. But it's still, I guess, you're opening yourself to start with, and then you will take action that really resonates anyway, won't you?
Oh, look, I will. And I think there's very valid reasons why we don't listen to all this beautiful guidance, because it's there continually. And our job is to tune in to be able to receive it, but there are reasons that we don't. Marianne Williamson has this a great explanation of how all of this works. She talks about there being two planes. One is a horizontal plane, and this is our human life, our 3D experience, right? And this is where all the drama plays out. This is where, your girlfriend slept with your best friend, and this happened here, and, your husband didn't say you looked pretty, and your other girlfriend stabbed you in the back, and work didn't work out, and your boss is a creep, and the drama happens here.
Yeah.
Now, there's also a vertical plane, and this is our spiritual access, right? And our job is to move from out here on this horizontal plane in closer and closer and closer until we hit the sweet spot from the horizontal and the vertical. And this is where the magic starts to happen. This is where we start to hear our guidance. It's when we get quiet enough from all the stuff that's out here to actually receive it and hear it. And for some of us, God, I'm not there, but some of us, we get to move up that access, and we get a clearer and clearer channel and pathway. And that's the goal, to get further up that vertical access. Now, the stuff that stops us from getting in here is the drama. But the dramas and the way we justify staying in the drama is because of all the stories we tell in our lives. And it's like, imagine each of us has our own movie theatre, like a stage theatre, and we sit in the audience and we watch the play of our lives being played out. At any given moment, we're jumping from Act 1 to Act 5, Scene 7, Part 2. We've got a walk-in over here. We've got someone who's going off here, and we're watching all of this play out, right? The trouble comes when we get so involved that we get up onto the stage and start playing everybody else's parts and then rewriting parts. And worse yet, we jump out of our own theatre into somebody else's theatre and jump on their stage and play a walk-in role in their play, which we think is hugely important, but we've neglected our own. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
For sure.
So there's lots of reasons why we stay out on this horizontal plane in the drama, which stops us from hearing them. And they might say to you, oh, my sweet child, we adore you so much, and we know for your highest good, it would be really wonderful if you could just move your bed to face the east. And we just go, What? No, because she said to me the other day on that phone call that and somebody else said this and that, and I haven't done the washing yet, God alone, I haven't even done the shopping. There's no, I'm not moving to bed. Right? So we're out here. I know that sounds really silly, but we get so involved in so many varying degrees that a really simple thing like moving our bed to face the east, which would enable us to wake up with the sun, which would fill the very first waking moment of our lives with that warm, beautiful, healing energy of the sun, which could then travel with us through every moment of our day, enabling us then to connect into the earth energy, to ground us and hold us and support us as we stay more connected. No, but we'll just stay out here.
Oh, don't you love it?
So, and it's not that any of that's right or wrong, it's where we're choosing to be. And there may well be really great lessons for us in being out there. The trick and the key to all of this is recognizing when we're out here and then going, oh, I got caught up. I'll move in again. I'll let that go. I'll move in. I'll even move my bed. Okay. And then stay there.
Yeah. Wonderful.
That'll make sense?
You just explained it.
That answers that question.
It does. You explain it in such a way that I get it. I fully get it. And it's, just listening to that allows me, I know you're not allowing me to do anything, but for me to hear that too gives me more compassion to myself on having this human experience and acting like I am because I am human, and that, it's all going to happen in its right time, and if I allow it, and if it's what I choose to do, you know what I mean? Because we still have a choice. No matter what, we have the choice. So, that was awesome. Thank you very much for sharing that way. That was just amazing.
It's a pleasure. When my kids were little, and one of the subjects they do in primary school is, oh God, what is it? Personal development, health, and whatever, know. And they would come home and they'd be so stressed about having to do a test on their personal development. And I'd go through it with them, dutiful mother, in my box, beautiful. And I'd go through it all with them and oh, really? And you think you're going to get that wrong? And I'd sit them down and I'd say, you know what? I don't want you to worry about this test at all, because I don't think you should even take the test. And they'd look at me and their eyes would go big. And I said, why, Mum? I say, because you can't fail your own personal development, darling. You can't. You can't, because it's yours. And it's the same with your spiritual development. You can't get this wrong. There's no right or wrong. It's not a test. You don't pass or fail it. It is what it is. And you will traverse this as you do. And it'll be perfect for you. Everyone needs to relax.
Wow. And it's right for us, isn't it? That's perfect. That's gorgeous.
Yeah. We can't fail it.
But we put so much pressure on ourselves to be this, especially we're on the spiritual journey. Usually we want more and more, some of it, I think most of us always are wanting more. But then it's like this race to be something that we think we need to be. And we put so much pressure on ourselves to turn up and to be this, and this. When, like you said, it's not a race. It's not a competition. It's not a test. It just is. Allow yourself just to be.
Yeah. And however long you stay at every point is absolutely fine. Mm-hmm. And there are some points you will power through. And you might power through something and remember 1% of it, but that 1% could be life-changing. Mm-hmm. And there are others you'll power through and remember 90%, and that's fabulous. And there are others that you'll spend ages and you'll really sit with it and you'll settle into it and you'll live it and you'll embody it. It becomes a part of you, the way you live and breathe. And that's perfect too.
Definitely.
There's no right and wrong way to do it. Everyone is different. Everyone is unique. Everyone's soul journey and the way they choose to navigate this with whatever depth of intuitive guidance they're comfortable with is perfect for them. No one can tell you the way you're spiritually evolving is wrong. Let's be clear.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right? So we need to just do what we feel is right for us and own it, completely own it.
That's good. That is. And I hope so many people listen to this message and really allow it to sink into their whole being, you know, like to really understand that, yeah, just being them and allowing their journey to happen as it is, you know, it's gorgeous. So thank you so much. And I really hope people really, really get that. I would love to also ask you about your services and how did you, you know, each one is very healing, but how did you choose each one to incorporate into your business?
That's a really hard question.
Pass?
The easy answer would be because they told me to.
Yeah.
But I have fought them, and them I mean my guides, I have fought them a lot on doing this. I've made it far more difficult a process and journey, I think, than I would probably choose now to do. Mm-hmm. For me, it was all about visibility, and it was, what can I do that is most likely to be accepted by the majority? Mm-hmm. That was my starting. Even, you know, what I called myself, what I called the business. It took me years before I actually used my name on my business. And it was then the things that I really trusted and I knew that I could do with my eyes closed. So I could just immerse myself in the experience because I was so spiritual. You know, those are the things I picked, right? Yeah. And that worked fine for a while. But then I noticed that those services weren't quite hitting the mark. And what happens is when we do any of these business and whatever modalities we use and what services we offer, they grow and change as we grow and change. So as I was evolving and learning more and I was expanding, my ability to ground and connect and hold more light was happening exponentially. What I was able to offer my clients also should have been changing, but I was staying locked into a really small little offering. So it had to change. And it came to a point where I had a client say to me, I don't know that I'm going to come back because I don't think that really quite hit the mark today. Mm-hmm. And it was like, oh, that was the equivalent of my sledgehammer to the side of the head. I couldn't ignore it anymore. And, you know, I sat down and I cried and I go, oh God, I'm a failure. What am I doing? Am I in my ego? What's going on? And they just said, no, you just need to offer this now, because your clients will resonate with this. Mm-hmm. And it's about being in alignment with who we are, what we do, what we can offer, and then the people that we attract. So the things that I offer in my services are continually evolving and changing as I am. And I'm much more open now to letting that process happen and not fighting it so much. I'm over the sledgehammers. I don't need too many more of those. And even, you know, what I'm doing right now is in the process of evolving again. I have a new form of healing, and I have new healing guides that have stepped forward. And I don't fight it. I just go, wow, this is really exciting now. Okay, let's practice, you know. And it just continually goes. But initially, in the very beginning, it was very much a comfort area and a visibility issue. That's where I started.
And that's a great way. At least you started, you know, and it's working through that resistance and our self-limiting beliefs. And it just, I think as your business evolves, you evolve, your business evolves, you grow more, especially if you allow yourself to fully connect with your business in a way that you can start expanding as well. You know, you're using it as a way of personal development. I find that since I've had my business, I've done crazy awesome things because I'm wanting to evolve my business, but in doing so, I'm involving myself and I'm learning and I'm growing and I'm finding amazing new ways of doing different things. And if I didn't have my business, I wouldn't have, if I hadn't started, if I hadn't followed through, even through the, you know, not so good bits, which happens when you first start a business, you know, I wouldn't be here today having these conversations, you know, learning different ways of being. It's just amazing on how it changes, and we allow ourselves to, you know, create a business from what we love and what we need, isn't it?
It is. And that's a really interesting point because lots of people get hung up on their purpose, their soul purpose, and their soul path. And my understanding of this might be a little bit different to some others, but for me, the soul purpose, the reason that we are here having this human life, this experience, that's the purpose. You know, if we're up there and we've got our checklist and we tick off certain things, that's the purpose. That's what we're here to learn, experience, understand, right? And our path is how we get really busy in life learning those things. Okay, so when we put that in context of our business and our modalities and the growth and involvement that we're doing, none of that's actually new to us, not at a soul level, because all of this is just energy. Just energy, they correct me, it's not just energy. All of this is energy, all right? And it's just different frequencies of energy. That's all it is, all right? And at a soul level, this is, you know, old hat to us at a soul level. But up there, when we're ticking our purpose, we also tick boxes. Well, we're going to use these gifts in this lifetime to help us achieve this purpose. So when we discover a new modality down here, you know, we light up and we feel the resonance in our soul because, oh my God, she found one. We can tick it off, you know. And that's what we do. And there's a point we get to where, oh, I think I've got everything I need, right? And we gather all those little things together, and that helps us navigate our path, which is how we get to achieving all those purposes. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. But it's such, when you think about it, you think, you know, sometimes I wish I just had that. I didn't, you know, why do I have to go through all of this to get it? But it's all part of the journey, and, you know, I know that. But sometimes you're like, just come on, seriously. I want to tick those boxes. Is that an overachiever way of thinking? Maybe.
No, it's not. What that tells me is that you have an awareness of your purpose, and you know that you're going to need certain things in order to achieve that purpose.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that is. And it's so exciting when somebody gets that awareness, because it means that you're willing to then navigate your path, and you're willing to endure the twists and the turns and, you know, stumbling over and under and around and through things, because you know that you're gathering all the things that you need along the way so that you can get that purpose ticked. And that's fantastic. God, we want to do that.
Yeah. I think it's great. My husband's a bit like, really? Another thing? Like, haven't you got like 20,000 things that you're already doing? I'm like, but I love it. I love learning new things. I like saying yes to these cool new ways of learning, or, you know, incorporating a new service or whatever it is, you know, I love it. And every time it's like, I don't know whether that's just one of my things I love to learn now. The funny thing about that too, I just have to say, is when I left university, I didn't even go to university. When I left school, I was like, I'm never going to, you know, go and study again, ever. And, you know, in the last 3 years, I think I've learned and studied about, I don't know, over 10 different modalities, you know, like, because I'm just like, I want to know more. And now nothing can satiate that need for learning. And I hope it doesn't stop, because I think when we're in the state of wanting to learn, and it's not coming from not enoughness either, it's coming from a place of, I just want to know more. So I know I'm going on and on, but thank you so much, Theresa. You've been absolutely amazing. And I would love people to know more about your services and where they can actually find you.
Oh, absolutely. I have a website, theresavoigt.com. Everything that I do and everything that I offer is on there. Having said that, I will also note that things are changing and evolving. So, you know, watch that space. I'm also I love Instagram. Can I just say, I really do love Instagram. So I'm on there quite a lot. So yeah, Theresa Voigt Healing on Instagram. I'm really visual. That's why it works for me. I love that. They're the main places that I hang out. I'm kind of on Facebook a little bit, but not so much. I love face-to-face stuff. I love the energy that comes from actually being with people. And it works really beautifully virtually like this as well. So I'm always available, always around. I actually have a really beautiful client who's been with me for years and years. And she just says to me, every time she comes to see me, she said, and she means it really nicely because I think she's actually older than me, but she says, it's like coming to see my mum. It's just like getting a warm hug, you know, every time I come to see you, which for me is just like gold. That's exactly what I want. But you can get that same energy exchange through lots and lots of different mediums. So you can find me Instagram, a little bit on Facebook, but my website's the main one. But phone calls are also really, really good.
Definitely. Yeah, this has been amazing. Like I said, I've really enjoyed every chat we've had. I've always left feeling just, you know, whatever it has been, it's just feeling, you know, just like a big hug. And I love that. And I hope other people who are going through something that they need a little bit of guidance or love or connection with, you know, get in contact with you and, you know, look into your mentoring and your coaching, as well as your healings, because, you know, you're such a beautiful woman and I just appreciate your time and connecting with me. It's just been magical. So thank you so much, Theresa. And I can't thank you enough.
Oh, it is such a pleasure. I feel really very honoured that we've had this time together. So thank you so much for sharing it with me.
Oh. Well, thank you everyone for joining us for another amazing Enlightened conversation, and make sure to check out our live Q&A, which will be coming soon, and we'll post all the details. Have a wonderful day. Bye.